Okay, so what we've done is we held Oceana County, Michigan under indictment for larceny by trick, as agency by estoppel. We did the attorney larceny by extortion. And the main one was the larceny of lost, mislaid, or delivered property. Okay? This one applies to the birth certificate. When you're delivered in a hospital, according to the Cestui Act. That's where you're placed. They offer you hospitality. And what she does is she does a birth announcement. When she announces your birth, your certificate, she's abandoning you. She has no idea that she's abandoning you. Okay? Upon the abandonment, you belong to the United States as a thing. Okay? Now you have their legal name. That's your stock certificate. You are one share of stock in the United States Incorporated. Okay? So at this time, you're dead. They're saving you. You've been saved in the hospital. What do you need to do? You're not proving life. Your mother's abandoned you. Your father's not claiming you because here's an announcement in the paper. He doesn't come in to claim you.
So you've been
orphaned. He doesn't know that he has to.
So you've been orphaned.
Right. You're an orphan. You're property that's lost, mislaid, or delivered. Okay? Now, if somebody comes and takes that, that's larceny. And that's what's going to happen. And they're administering your estate, your state of being. Okay? So now you have to prove life. Now what we've done is we've put on admissions, evidence of proof of life. I just sent that to you in the Skype there. And what it is, all it is you're going off of the motion to show cause life, which is the Cestui Act. Cestui means with what cause do you live? Okay? It's a motion to show cause life. And nobody's showing cause that they're alive until now. So once you put that evidence on the court record, it has to be in action. It says so in the Cestui Act. Once you put on record that you're alive, you're revealing God. You're making him apparent finally, and you're showing everybody that's witness to the court record that here you are, proof. Now, how do you claim your shit? You have to do some administering of your own. First, you need to make yourself the executor of your estate. You need to appoint the living person now, executor of the dead thing. Now you can administer your own stuff. Okay? Now you need to do some writs. Now I ran into an issue when we had indictment and everything else. This is all acknowledged. The attorney acknowledged that the larceny was perpetrated. He rolled over on his client and said, no, it wasn't me. It was my client. He admitted the larceny. Okay, so we have acknowledgement. We have a judgment. They didn't come back in and show cause why they shouldn't be indicted, but everything was stalled out. So now how do you collect on that judgment? You need to do a fieri, fascis, de bonis, ecclesiasticis writ of execution. Because you have found a judgment, the judgment debtor, which is a corporation or an attorney, they're not in your jurisdiction. So you can't make a claim on their shit because they're not in your fictional.
There we go.
Right. Everything that's fictional does not exist any longer. That court does not exist. Your court exists now that you're alive. So you need to do a writ. And what that writ does is it demands from the bishop that he dip into the bishop's trust and you get the benefits of the corporation or the attorney or whatever else, such as the municipal employees' retirement securities. You get everything. The IOLTA trust, everything. But you have to make the claim as the king. These are writs from the king. And what you're going to have to do is it's an absolute, original, and extraordinary writ of mandamus with a colon, because you're following it up with a writ of execution, which is a fieri, fascis, de bonis, ecclesiasticis writ of execution. And I believe that's all it's going to take. Now, I just wrote this morning. We're going to file it tomorrow, and then after that we'll see where it goes. But, I mean, it's perfect. They say in Bouvier's maxim, the king does not have an equal, much less a superior. You have so much that says, here, nothing exists until judgment, correct? But you just judged. You were just a judge, and that's what Jesus was explaining too in 1 Corinthians 6. He says, is there not any man among you who can judge these matters? Why are you taking this shit to the law? You know, you became unaware that you're supposed to be judging these matters. You're judge. You're God. You need to claim your position.
Okay, so you sent me the Johansson motion to show cause, the Johansson kidnapping 2 circuit, and the scan, and it's still coming.
Right.
Which one do we start with?
Scan it. You want to look at all of them because the Johansson motion to show cause is all of the larceny by trick, larceny by extortion, all of this when we went up against the county. The kidnapping is when the sheriff was acting on the attorney's orders. This attorney was maintaining an army, a militia against him by being a court officer, which is it's part of the larceny by extortion. The aggravated larceny becomes aggravated because he's using a militia against the person of Philip Johansson. And what Phil did is he claimed life. They can no longer touch him. He has the executor doc on file. He has the forgiveness doc on file. So he's forgiven his debt as the creditor. He's no longer dead. He's no longer able for them to administer his estate. He is the house. He put himself back in his house. And that's the other thing. These charters, the charter ability is claiming ownership of all of these dead things and lands and everything else by putting it into another house, the manor. This is the bishop's house. Now, once you claim and you forgive yourself as the debtor, as the creditor, and you claim life, you claim you're the administrator now, you appoint yourself as your executor of the dead thing, there's nobody else that can administer that estate. Only you can administer that estate. They have no other option than to listen and adhere to your will. Your will. Your will was taken by attorney work product doctrine. Here they have it. All of the evidence is stripped off of court record. Attorney work product doctrine says that you can hear testimony, you can have exhibits, whatever else, but only if they allow it. They're not allowing evidence on the court record, so you never once appeared before. You've never, ever, ever, ever appeared as a living person. You've never been revealed. You have to put yourself on evidence and appear by the evidence. And in that, the Johansson motion to show cause RE, that one has the admission statements in there. What you're doing is you're bringing forward on evidence the Cestui Act, the motion to show cause life, and then in section 4 you're saying, here I am. I'm appearing. Now you leave me alone. And you have to word it exactly the way that it's worded, the way that I wrote it, because what you're doing is you have to appear before the court. That means you exist before the court exists as a fiction. You're God. You were here long before the court ever existed. It only exists by implied color and color. It doesn't exist unless you're defending yourself.
I just brought it up here, Tammy. I'm looking through it. And then, who do you file this with then, Tammy?
You have to file it in an action according to the Cestui Act. So whatever action you have ongoing or any of them. As soon as you prove life, that court no longer exists. It becomes a fiction.
So like
it's not necessary for life.
I've got a warrant out for me for a ticket from years ago, so that's an action that's ongoing. So I could file this into that?
Right. And you appear by the evidence. Do not enter into the Church of Bob.
Oh, no.
Do not go there. What you do is you put on evidence your appearance.
Okay.
You appear by the evidence.
Okay.
And that's what Phil did. You appear. They can no longer summon the dead. When they send you a summons and they say that you didn't show up, you can't show up. You can only summon the dead. You can't summon a living being.
So just take this down to the courthouse and file it into the case that's still ongoing then.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What do you expect?
And you have to file the forgiveness doc, which forgives your debt. Let me send you that one.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
No, that one's the one that Kurt is just absolutely beautiful. Kurt wrote the forgiveness doc, and then all I did was help him a little tiny bit. It's the most amazing document I've ever seen. And what it did was it forgave the debt, and you cannot claim your illegal name.
What was that in the background?
You can't.
Okay.
I don't know. You can't claim their stock. To obliterate the stock, because you become one share of stock in the U.S. Incorporated, you can't claim that. All these attorneys are teaching to claim it by UCC filing, but you can't claim that. That's somebody else's stock. You have to obliterate that stock. You have to rip it up, and what we're doing is we're obliterating it and pretty much ripping up that share of stock. It no longer exists. Now you can have your name, and it belongs to you, but you don't want to claim it under UCC because according to the Cestui Act, once you prove life, you get all of the principal and interest all the way back to 1666. You don't want just the derivatives. Under UCC, those are derivatives of human production. So that's just a small little paltry amount. But what if you're claiming the principal and interest all the way back to 1666 when they first stole your land?
So you can rectify all these other problems. You can claim all the stuff they've erred you and wronged you since the beginning.
Since 1666, absolutely.
Wow.
That's what the Cestui Act says.
Yeah,
once you prove life, you get it.
It's not about you, Mike. It's about the estate.
Okay.
Right. And you claim all of your property, the principal and the interest in 1666. Now, when he came in, I got to show you. The scan one is the letter from the attorney rolling over on his client. And then we came back in with more admissions. We admitted the McNeely letter, and then we charged him again with criminal coercion. And then I'm going to put copy and paste into your email the new motion to close. That's the motion.
Me too.
No, you're right.
Me too. Everything you got.
Yeah, I have it in the Skype box that you, Colin and Zach is in, and then.
I'm not at my Skype right now.
Okay.
I wanted to share something or add something or tweak something and see what you think. Going along with Rob Ryder's stuff, if you want to call it that, I keep thinking about it and going over it. I've read court cases, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I'm thinking. Why not use the public record instead of the courts? The courts are fictions. The courts, as you just said,
right.
They have no.
Right, and that's what we're doing. When you file the forgiveness stuff, you file that with the recorder's office, and you also have to record your executor appointment. You have to appoint yourself as the executor of your estate. You have to record that with the registrar's office because this is your court. And that recorder's office is yours at that time. I mean, you're the king. You were always the king, but it took another king to separate your spiritual and the temple and give your body over the temple over to the bishop. And now you're saying, no, get off my land. You know, here you've been on my porch all this time. What are you doing standing there? This is mine. There's been somebody else trespassing on you all this time. And your land is you. That's your body.
Okay, I've got all those documents.
Right. How do we go back? If you were born in 18, whatever you said it was.
That's the forgiveness stuff. When you forgive as the creditor and the debtor, what you're doing is you're merging that. You take a +1 and a -1, and you bring it all together, and it becomes 0. So here, as the franchise, they've been copying you. They make copies of the original copyright. And they say, well, you need this, you need this, you need this, so we need this amount of money. And you're asking for them to protect you all this time, and you're initiating all of this debt, every bit of this debt. So from now on, you say, no, I don't want you to protect me. I'm the executor. I will administer my estate. I don't want your hospital. I don't want your insurance. I don't want your Social Security. I don't want your retirement. I just want what's mine since 1666. Stop protecting me, and you claim that you're I am. You have to go back to being I am, because your physical state was apparent, and now you're making it apparent before you got the legal name. You already existed as to your physics before you're all together, and it becomes 0. So here, as the franchise, they've been copying you. They make copies of the original copyright, and they say, well, you need this, you need this, you need this, so we need this amount of money. And you're asking for them to protect you all this time, and you're initiating all of this debt, every bit of this debt. So from now on, you say, no, I don't want you to protect me. I'm the executor. I will administer my estate. I don't want your hospital. I don't want your insurance. I don't want your Social Security. I don't want your retirement. I just want what's mine since 1666. Stop protecting me, and you claim that you're I am. You have to go back to being I am, because your physical state was apparent, and now you're making it apparent before you got the legal name. You already existed as to your physics before they named you, before they turned you hypothecated. It's called hypothecation. Before they hypothecated you, you were a physical entity already. You were already being, and then they told you what to be, because as a vessel, they were then able to fill you up with the Constitution. That's what the Constitution is. The Bill of Rights is a bill in the nature of a bill of reviver stemming from the Cestui Act. And what it says is, yes, you're a prisoner of war. So we're going to hold you. We're going to maintain you and protect you and everything else. But you're only equal to the other prisoners of war. Every man is created equal. Well, man is a legal creation. Before you were told you were a man and told you have a penis, you already knew you had a penis. And you already existed.
Some of the stuff you're listening using, Tammy, it looks like Kurt Kallenbach stuff.
Right. The forgiveness doc is Kurt. And then all I did was kind of put in a couple words said that he needed help with. But other than that, that's his. And it's just the most beautiful document I've ever seen. And once you forgive yourself, you have to enter into your own house. You'll have to be your own house. You have to be the king. No more asking them to protect you because they've been the patriarch. You're patronizing the father. That father is protecting you. And Jesus said, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And nobody listened. Everybody went to that father and they said, oh, help me, help me. I need Social Security. I need you to help me. Insure me, insure me. Well, insurance, you're the guarantee. You've always been the guarantee. As a sheriff, you're the guarantee. So every time you insure something, like say you take out life insurance, they're going to do their best to kill you. You're paying them to kill you.
Huh.
You're telling them, please kill me. Here, I have this amount for you. Or you have medical insurance. That's the most disgusting. If you buy medical insurance, you're guaranteeing that you get sick. They will make you sick. That's how they derive revenue from your person.
So you've talked to Kurt about this? You guys in unison with this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been with Kurt the last month or so, and we've been working through this and writing. So once I came together with Kurt, he's not here right now, but we kind of got everything where it needed to be.
Oh, so you're in the area that he's at, huh? So I say I can bring him in here if you want.
He's busy. I tried to call him earlier.
Yeah, but he probably didn't answer because it was you. See if I can get him. Let me try him here. I don't know if Colin knows him or not. Colin, do you know Kurt?
The person you have called is unavailable.
Yeah, he's not available.
No,
I don't think I do.
Oh, he's got some good stuff. I've been with Kurt now, 4 or 5 years. He does a talk show also, but he was burnt out here for a while. He's beat him up too, like they do all of us.
Not burnt out. He has the next documentary will be done this week, and we're finally finalizing things where everybody can actually breathe now.
He wrote a book. I sent it out to everybody. It was very, very popular.
Right.
Well,
no,
he's
like an amazing soul.
This actually conforms to. See, that's the problem when you have a Jack Bauer and a Mike Golden in the same room. They fight with each other all the time. So no, Tam, that makes a whole lot of sense. But you're saying it's kind of along the lines of, what I've been saying. Kind of along the lines is the same thing. Is that the Cestui KV, you make your claim that you're alive. And you need to make sure that you file it properly. And once then you can take it. Until you do that, you cannot do any of these other processes because you're still dead.
Right. Right. You never appear. And that's what it says in Bouvier. If you never appear, it's the same thing as you don't exist. It says in Bouvier, de non apparentibus et non existentibus eodem est ratio. The rule is the same respecting things that do not appear and things that do not exist. You never exist. You can go to court all you want, but they're administrating you as your estate because you're never alive. So they can do whatever they want to you, and you don't have a claim against them because they're your administrator. And then it goes into you where you have the claim. Now the attorney is called a gestor. Let me get my notes here. And we've known that for a long time. But as the gestor of your estate, you do have a claim against the gestor. Let me get it.
Well, that's who we need to go after, is that freaking gestor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because here they are, they're maintaining as your protector, and that's what we've been doing. Is the court, because you're a thing, you're considered basically an infant because you haven't appeared, you're dead or you're infirm or deficient in some manner. The court becomes your fiduciary trust. Now, there's a trust relationship that's supposed to be, that's required during that time. And if that trust isn't there, what happens? They've broken the trust. So you have to be able to step out of that contract at some point.
Tammy and Colin, I've got a friend of mine I had on the show with me Saturday. He's an attorney, but he's a defrocked attorney. They threw him out of the state of Texas. They won't let him do anything. They defrocked him, and he's into this kind of stuff. Can I bring him in on this, please?
What do you think, Colin?
He's a good guy. He's one of us, and he's a God-fearing, and he's really trying to learn this stuff. He really is.
Yeah,
Okay, hold on a second.
Give him a shot.
All right, hold on. I'm going to bring him in here.
That if he does anything improper,
he won't. I think you'll like him. You'll like this guy. Again, he's already. They defrocked him because he was kicking their butt so bad down in Texas. 6.
Well, any attorney that's defucked is actually becomes a normal person again, right?
Yep.
Particularly if they did not use any Vaseline, then he is one of us.
Right.
You're gonna like this guy. So hang on a second here. Add to the group. All right, here we go. His name's Charles Lincoln III.
Hello?
Charles.
I'm here.
Hey, Charles, I got a couple of dear friends on the line here. I've been talking about you in good terms. This is my very brilliant friends, Tami Pepperman and my friend Colin Derrick.
Hi.
Colin's in, where are you at, Colin?
I'm on Maryland right now.
Yeah, Maryland's back in
I'm on Maryland right now.
And I've been telling him how you've been defrocked and all that stuff, and you're one of us, a good guy. So anyway, Tami, go ahead with what you were saying, and because I'm telling you, Charles here he understands a lot of what you're talking about, and he's along with us in this. So go ahead, Tami.
So what you're doing is you've got management of affairs is called negotiorum gestio. And that one is you become the negotiable instrument as the attorney is trading you back and forth. Okay, they're your managers. So when you get over to the attorney relationship, the negotiorum gestio, they do not exist if the gesture acted self-interestedly or if the owner expressly forbade the gesture from acting on the owner's behalf. So you have to prove life. And you have to say, no, you're no longer my administrator. That's what the forgiveness doc is. You have to forgive yourself as the debtor and become the creditor as well. So you zero everything out and you say, no more administering me. I'm alive. The court does not even exist. That's the thing that's so hard to comprehend for most people. It only takes one person to prove life, one, and then the court no longer exists because it's always a fiction of law.
Well, Tami, we brought him in kind of in the middle of this. Could you give a quick recap of what we're doing and what you're doing and how you're doing it and what's transpired? I'm sorry to ask you to go over it. I tried to bring him in earlier or talk to him earlier, but there was no answer. I've just got him now. So if you wouldn't mind, so he kind of understands what we're talking about here.
Well, basically the Cestui Act is a motion to show cause life. All this time, the attorney has used attorney work product doctrine to shuffle any and all evidence onto the court record. So you don't have any evidence. You have exhibits and testimony and hearsay and all this bullshit. So you're allowing an administrative procedure. You are allowing it because you're not putting any evidence on the court record. Once you admit on the court record admission statements that you're alive on evidence and you appear by the evidence, do not go into a court. You have to appear by the evidence. You're proving evidence. You're making evident that you're alive. Okay, then you have to appoint yourself as the executor of your estate because only a living person can be the executor of the dead. So you're taking your dead estate, you're forgiving its debt, you're forgiving everything, and then you're the administrator. You have to be God on this one. No more letting the attorney tell you that you're not God. Okay, they're perverting your word. They're perverting your word by telling you that you're not God, so they've taken away your will. You have no will. There's no will. There's no intent on any of the court records. There's nothing on court record. And when you put evidence on the court record, what are you compelling? You're compelling a judge to be there, so that becomes your court. It's no longer administrative procedure. It's no longer legal process. In legal process, you're being processed. You're the thing being processed.
Have you tried this out on any judges yet?
Absolutely. In Michigan recently, in Oceana County, we just indicted them. The attorney ended up rolling over on his own client. He admitted to the larceny by trick, larceny by extortion, larceny of lost, mislaid, and delivered goods. He admitted to it, and then we came back in as king and said, we want my shit from the bishop. You have to do the claim on the bishop. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything. So you have to claim that you're the king, you're God. You have to show your life and appear on court record, upon it. You don't appear below it or understand anything. You have to appear upon the court and before the court. So you're before the court existed, there was God. Your physics existed before the court existed or before an attorney sanctioned you. And then you've got to come in on the writ of fieri fascis de bonus ecclesiasticis. It's a writ of execution, and you have to make that claim against the bishop, and what that'll do is it claims title to trust. It claims the MERS account, the Municipal Employees Retirement Securities account. You have to do the claim against the corporation, because otherwise If you don't do that claim, how are you going to claim it? Because they're no longer in that jurisdiction. If you're maintaining your court, you have to bring them into your jurisdiction now, under your authority, jurisdiction, the ability to write the law. Now, this is your law.
I've got all that.
Say that again.
I couldn't hear that last time.
I've got all that paperwork and that she's talking about. I'll get a copy to you.
Right.
Do you have any transcripts of how this dialogue played out with judges?
Excuse me?
I'd love to see some transcripts of how judges react to this. Do you have any transcripts of how judges this played out before judges?
No, what happens is they're doing it in chambers. They're trying to keep it quiet, and they're killing each other. I couldn't figure out why they're killing each other, but that's according to Geneva Convention. Once you call them to the table and you say, hey, this is larceny by trick, extortion, blah, 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 criminal coercion, criminal contempt of court. Once you do that, they gag my client right away, and they kill the attorney. They kill whoever you went against or whoever they picked to be the fall guy. And that's according to Geneva Convention of 1929. Nobody's allowed to abuse you as a prisoner of war. You have no government. Here you are patronizing the corporation, but the corporation is not allowed to put you in prison. They're not allowed to change your rank. They're not allowed to torture you or anything else. And if they do, they're to be executed within 3 months. And we've been seeing that within 2 weeks they kill them. But that's what Jesus said, let the dead bury their own dead. He said let them cannibalize each other, so we are. I have no compunction against this. I could care less what they do to each other. As long as they leave the living human being alone, they can do whatever they want. And they are. They're like hyenas pulling each other apart.
Which is exactly why we have, so the people who understand where we are in history understand clearly that we have to do something about it because a cancer will eat its host. And it'll kill its host, and then itself usher.
And see, Jesus did not teach forgiveness against harm upon a person. He did not teach forgiveness for harm upon God's children. He taught forgiveness for financial crimes. He specifically said, for those that maintain harm upon the children, be it better that you have a millstone hung about your neck and you be tossed back into the sea. And that's what we're doing. We're hanging the burden right back on them. When you indict them for larceny, for criminal coercion, for criminal contempt of court, blah, 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 you're wrapping that millstone around their neck and tossing them into their own sea, S-E-E. Here you are, you're just feeding them to each other. I could care less, and that's what Jesus said. He believed in compassionate justice. You have to remove the harm from community, otherwise it festers. I mean, look at this society. This society is becoming psychopathic because these attorneys are maintaining it. Everything is politically correct. Well, that's good for politics, but within psychopathy, it's not good for humanity. You have to get rid of the psychopathy. And that's what Jesus is teaching, compassionate justice. Let them kill each other. We never have to lift a finger. I didn't have to lift a finger in this one. That attorney hung himself. We went after the judge, Judge Drake. He took his off and filed his shit over into a separate file. He ordered the clerk to file his indictment in a separate file, and then he and tossing them into their own sea, S-E-E. Here you are, you're just feeding them to each other. I could care less, and that's what Jesus said. He believed in compassionate justice. You have to remove the harm from community, otherwise it festers. I mean, look at this society. This society is becoming psychopathic because these attorneys are maintaining it. Everything is politically correct. Well, that's good for politics, but within psychopathy, it's not good for humanity. You have to get rid of the psychopathy. And that's what Jesus is teaching, compassionate justice. Let them kill each other. We never have to lift a finger. I didn't have to lift a finger in this one. That attorney hung himself. We went after the judge, Judge Drake. He took his off and filed his shit over into a separate file. He ordered the clerk to file his indictment in a separate file, and then he pushed on the attorney. I don't care if they do that. As long as they take somebody out, I don't care who the fall guy is, because that teaches the next guy not to do that. And if they do, I will indict them, and they will be the ones kicking and screaming. These people are tearing each other apart. Like, it's the intellectual equivalent to drawing and quartering. I mean, they're stripping them of their names. They're taking all of their shit. If I claim illegal compensation, they put a seizure on their assets for a year, minimum of a year. You know how bad that hurts a psychopath that's maintained by his title? He knows himself only by his car and his house and his shit. When you take his shit, he's already tossed into the pits of hell. He doesn't know himself.
I got a question. Tami, if we're trying to put them in shit, is it a good idea to let them get rid of their shit?
Yep, and it goes right into your hands because what happens is when you do an illegal compensation claim against them, their assets are seized for you. See, that's the other thing about the franchise. No matter what, you're a franchise of the United States Incorporated. Now, these are nations. Each municipality is a nation foreign to the United States. Every time they injure you or put you into law, they're injuring the United States. This is espionage.
Right. Yep. Well, the thing that's cool is what you're saying about the Cestui KV. I pronounce it different than you do. Because when I did a study on that a year or so ago, there was a big hoopla with a bunch of people trying to study it. And then they all just kind of backed off because they kind of consented to it, figuring that, well, there's no way that we can do anything about it because they didn't read past the part. And then what I did is I kept reading, and I found out that it actually says that, because if you remember the Cestui KV trust, it's actually created when people were going overseas and getting killed. The master of the estate was getting killed, and this is why they had to come up with trust. So they came up with the Cestui KV trust first, was that if he's gone, they're supposed to send out, and I don't know if you want to add this to it or not, but it makes a lot of sense. I was working on from this aspect here, at least on this foreclosure action. I'm saying, where was your search party? And they're like looking at me funny. I said, according to Cestui KV trust, you are required to send 3 search parties to find either the living man or the body and bring the body home. After they've done, and that means overseas. So you have to do some really serious due diligence to look for this person or their body. Now, if they do not find the body after 3 searches, diligent searches, then it is assumed that that you are dead, and then
after the 7 years. But see, what happens is at your birth, you're being birthed in their hospital. That's where you're lost. Because your mother does an announcement. Now, what is a stock announcement? Have you ever looked in Black's Law Dictionary at the letter A? That's your stock announcement. So when your mother announces your birth and delivery, you've been delivered. You're now property, lost, mislaid, and delivered. Your mom announces this and abandons you because she's announcing you as a legal entity. Your father does not know that he can come in and claim you. So nobody ever claims you. You're abandoned. From then on, you're lost at sea. You're lost in their sea, S-E-E. So you have to prove that you're no longer lost. They don't have to look for you. You're just property lost, mislaid, or delivered. And so what you have to do is you have to come back in and you say, no, look at this. You have stolen larceny of lost, mislaid, and delivered property.
Right. And
so when you come in with the larceny, you have to do the claim against the bishop.
That's the part I think we need to go into. Let me finish my little thing, and then if you would explain that just a little bit more in detail. But what I was going to say is that upon reading the very end of it, you find out that if the master comes back and announces or makes himself known to be alive, he then can go after and make claim to all of the pieces of his estate. Now, it does say that. That you have to go after each and every little piece of your estate because it's been, put out to other people. Under the because it's so what
under the copyright. You've been copyrighted. And from that copyright, they make other copies. That's called a copy hold. And so once you're first hypothecated into the thing, you're copyrighted, you're a share of stock, and then they can make a series of copies. That series is the dollar bill. There's a serial number on each one, and each one of those is your series of debts. So here you have this name, this name, this name, this name, this name. You can bring them all back in you have to get rid of all of the bills of attainder, all of the commission, all ordinances, warrants, writs of attainder, blah, blah, blah. You have to get rid of all of that. And you can do that within the document. But you have to do that all at one time. And you can. I mean, you look at how the book is written. Now remember, your book is being written by these fucks. And the book says that there's a title, there's a chapter, there's a code, which is words, there's statements, or statutes, which are statements of compulsion, This is your book that they're writing for you on your behalf. This is what you could be, should be, ought to be, or otherwise would be, instead of what you are. And so you have to obliterate the book.
Charles, does any of this make
sense
to you at all, Charles, or do you understand where she's, I mean, this is biblical, spiritual, scriptural stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to it. I mean, I certainly recognize some of the biblical allusions there. I'd love to see some of it deeper, I guess, how they present it to the court, because I can't quite picture how you'd use this.
Well, she says you have to file this action or you have to file this document into an existing action or have an action going to get it again to before the court.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Because the Cestui Act is, what that is, Cestui means motion to show, with what cause do you live? So there's a motion to show cause life. How do you deal with a motion to show cause? You have to show cause.
Yeah, well.
So by admissions, you have to appear on admissions and show cause that you're alive. You have to show that you're alive on admissions by the evidence. And once you reveal yourself, you're revealing God. God's appearing. He's being revealed as per Revelation.
Well, now, do you do this by motion or affidavit, or how do you do it?
Never an affidavit. If you're doing an affidavit, you're giving them jurisdiction. You'll find something, and that has to be certified and notarized by one of them, right? So you never have your free will. You're never your own authority. You have another authority to certify you. How do they certify you? They see your identification issued to you by your corporation. That's your stock. That's part of your copyright and copy hold. So what you do is you admit, you have to admit on the evidence with an admission statement that you're alive. And you never, ever come behind a motion. You have to come upon a motion. You move the court. You're the director, and you have to be the director. Otherwise, this isn't going to work. If you have any kind of certification or notarization or anything else, you're allowing somebody else to say, yep, that's him. Well, what are they viewing? They're viewing your state-issued identification to verify you are who you are. No, you have to go in on your own authority, absolute authority. What is absolute? Absolute, the word means away from the solution. Well, what is that? Perfect. So you come in under your law, which is absolute law, and that which is perfect is come, correct? And Jesus said that. When that which is perfect is come, that which is in part is done away. Here you are, you're perfect. You have to show the absolute. You have to come in and compel absolute law, absolute authority. No more statutory law, no more claiming UCC shit, because these attorneys are putting people in jail. You cannot claim that that is your stock. Somebody owns you as stock. You can obliterate that stock. You can tear it up. You can destroy that stock and say it doesn't no longer exist because you hold the stock. You're the stockholder, but you cannot own that stock. You can't go in and make a UCC claim on it. It's somebody else's stock. So you have to destroy it and become the administrator of your own estate, and you become the authority. Then it's over. They have no other ability to administer your estate. You nullify the courts by maintaining life. Every single law is a fiction. Law is created out of fiction. If you read movies of law, it's all fiction. Once you're a living being, it only takes one living being to nullify every court. It's all gone. They no longer exist because they're not needed. There you are. You're going to judge your own matters. You will be the judge. You're no longer harming each other. They've been telling you all these years that you harm each other. You know, the sickest thing I ever heard in my life was when I went into India with my advocacy with Save Indian Family, and I had Hindu Indians and I had Muslim Indians. And I was talking to them one day, and they were telling me, I don't like Muslims. You know that years ago, Muslim men were burning their widows to prevent inheritance. I'm like, oh my God. Repeat that statement to me, please. And he said it again, and he said, do you know that Muslim men were burning their widows to prevent inheritance? And I asked the guy, I said, how the fuck did the dead guy burn his wife? Attorneys have always done this. Attorneys were burning those widows. And that's what Jesus was so pissed off at. He told them, you have shut up the kingdom of heaven. Here we are in heaven, and they're implicating law and courts in front of your path and impeding your walk. As God, they're teaching you that you're not God.
Well,
it's time to go back against the whore of Babylon. Do you realize what the attorney oath is? Now, you know the word demean as one word. That word is Damien. Of myself I give. To attorn means to go to another landlord. When you take an attorney oath and you give your body over to the bar association, that's what Jesus describes in 1 Corinthians 6 as fornication. There is no other ability to fornicate other than giving your body over to the landlord. And he was so pissed. What did he say? He said, flee fornication. Flee it. Get away from it. Get your body back out of their hands. Stop doing this. An attorney sells his soul to the bar.
Tammy, somebody walking in the door right now. I've got to take care of them. But do you have my email? It's charles.lincoln@mail.com. I'd love to see some of this stuff and how it plays out.
Tammy, if you want, I can send him what you sent me already, Tammy. I've got your stuff.
Okay.
Send it to him, and then give him my email address too, because I didn't hear him.
Will do. Yeah, I'll get it. Hey, thank you, Charles.
I'm sorry, I got to run.
All right, Charles.
Thanks, Mike. I'll talk to you soon.
Be well.
Okay, he's gone. Yeah, he's what I think can be a real benefit to us because he's real open-minded. He's pissed off anyway because, like I said, they've actually thrown him out of Texas. He can't even go into Texas anymore. They banned him from doing any paperwork. So he's definitely in our corner.
Good.
I appreciate you taking the time to do that with him.
We're almost done. We're almost there.
Yeah, Tammy, I've got like an attack going on me down here. There's a bunch of us. In fact, that's why I brought Charles in on that. I've been involved with the marijuana group down here, coalition, and one of my buddies that was in the co-op that was running the co-op, man, they actually shot at him, and I mean, they're going after him. They every time he gets a cell phone, they attack it. They attack anything he does electronically. And he started coming over here, and now I've been being attacked on my computer. My computer, it knocks me off the web it's been going at about 4 o'clock in the morning for I don't know how long. It just stays off, and they say, oh, it's the modem's going bad. Well, at the same time, every day that's bullshit. So I put in a lot.
Let me give you, there's a new one. Before, when I was being attacked, I was using that CT cleaner.
Huh?
But now, somebody gave me, it's called 360 Amigo.
Right. I've been involved with the marijuana group down here, coalition, and one of my buddies that was in the co-op that was running the co-op, man, they actually shot at him, and I mean, they're going after him. They every time he gets a cell phone, they attack it. They attack anything he does electronically, and he started coming over here, and now I've been being attacked on my computer. My computer, it knocks me off the web it's been going at about 4 o'clock in the morning for I don't know how long. It just stays off, and they say, oh, it's the modem's going bad. Well, at the same time, every day that's bullshit. So I put in a lot.
Let me give you, there's a new one. Before, when I was being attacked, I was using that CT cleaner.
Huh?
But now, somebody gave me, it's called 360 Amigo.
Right.
Do that one. I really, 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 really like their registry cleaner, the junk file cleaner, privacy cleaner, and it defragments. But I was going really slow. They've been attacking me, the DNS poisoning all the time.
Well, here's what I did.
And 360 Amigo seems to be the best.
I'm going to unplug my microphone here. Yeah? Hello?
Yeah, Mike, part of what they're doing is they're downloading when you stay on the net. That's why I tell people, unplug your cable, literally. Because what I found out is that they're downloading everything on your computer.
Right. Well, here's what I did. I went in.
Now, I would like to.
Here's what I did. Listen to this. I went in yesterday and I set this up on my system because who's usually awake at 3 or 4 in the morning? Not many people. Well, I set this up, and here's what woke me up this morning. Here's what I set. You're gonna love this. Listen to this. Let me turn this up so you can hear it. This is what went off this morning here at my house. Coming. Give it a second. Coming.
Oh, God.
Is that great?
That's sad.
Now,
that's sad.
When my system went down, when it took me off the web, that immediately went off, letting me know I was taken off the web. And I wasn't off the web for more than 30 seconds, and I was back on.
Right.
Typically, it's been taking me off and leaving me off, for an hour or two. But as soon as that went off, I was back on.
Good.
So somebody's listening, I think.
Yeah.
So
who cares anymore?
You think?
Yeah.
So, and my buddy down here, he's gone after. Let me put my headset back on so it's easier here. They've gone after him. It's incredible how badly that they've gone after him. When he went to the fair last year in October, he went in. He just had a big check cashed. He had like $5,000 on him. And he goes to the fair with his two kids, and the kids wanted a hot dog. So he went over. They went someplace. He was getting them a couple of hot dogs, and he whips out a $100 bill out of his roll he had. And the gal takes it and goes to the back, and she comes back out, and she comes out screaming, "It's counterfeit, counterfeit!" And why would you create a scene like that? So she disappears. So the other lady sitting there says, "I don't suppose you still want those hot dogs, do you?" And she says, "Yeah, I do. It's for my kids." So he rolls out another 20, gives to her, and gives it. And he takes it over and gives it to his kids. He has a tap on his shoulder. And a couple of cops are standing there. He says, "What are you running for?" And he says, "Running? I'm not running anywhere. I'm giving my kids some hot dogs." So they took him over into the police facility where there's about 15 of these goddamn cops. They got all his money. They spread it all on the tables. And this is all counterfeit, they say. But then as they check it, he can hear them. There's none of his counterfeit. So they tell him, he says, "Well, they say, well, we want you to leave." And he says, "Well, I want my money." He says, "No, you can't have it." And they says, "Well, So they wrote him a receipt. He says, "I want every one of your business cards. I'm not leaving until I have every business card." The one cop pulls a card out of his pocket a little bit, and he pushes it back down. He says, "You're not getting one." And they hand wrote him on a torn piece of paper a receipt for his $5,000. He says, "Now what you're going to do is you're going to walk down that path right there, and we have cameras all the way down. You're going to go get your truck, and you're going to leave. That's what's going to happen." And this is what they did. I mean, it's incredible. And every time he gets a cell phone, one of his smartphones, it's attacked almost immediately. I've watched it come up on his cell phone. He's got those new Androids. He's got some neat technology. Incredible what they're hitting him. And now that he's coming around here, guess who's getting attacked now? So the Fresno City Police Department, they pulled him over. No, he was over at a Denny's parking lot downtown, and of course a hooker walks up to him, and he says, "I'm not interested. Get out of here. Leave me alone." He went in, ate, came back, she hits him up again. As he's leaving, the cops pull him over, and they want to arrest him. They're going to arrest him, they say, for soliciting. They watched it. He says, "Bullshit, I didn't do anything." They said, "Well, if you give us $500 cash right now towards marriage, we'll let you go." And he says, "Bullshit." He says, "Take me to court." So they wrote him up, and his attorney that he got told him straight up, "You're not going to win this. There's 5 of them. They're going to lie. They're going to cheat. This is done every day here in Fresno." They're shaking people down here in Fresno, left, right, and center.
Right. They're getting scared. And that's what Obama just did the NDAA for. That's a national defense. That has nothing to do with public defense.
Huh.
They're so scared right now. Look at how scared they are. What did they just fund? This is against us, so they funded that. Why do they need that funding? They're still shitless.
Why are they so
They
afraid?
know what's coming down.
They know that we're unraveling this puzzle.
Absolutely, because we're compelling public law under the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment, or the Article 4 of the Constitution, the Commerce Clause. They're allowed to do anything they want within private acts and commercial acts, right? Acts of commerce. The restrictive principle of sovereign immunity only adheres to public acts. Anything under UCC that they're doing, they don't have immunity for. It's criminal coercion.
Interesting.
We're using their own law against them. Now, if you read the larcenies by trick, whatever else, I got them for treason for injuring Phil too, because they injured the person of Phil, the entity created by being a franchise of the United States Incorporated. When they injured him and put him into law, that means put into law, injure. When they injure him, they're injuring the United States. That's treason and sedition.
I'll tell you, they're kicking the shit out of it. Electronically, we're staying one step ahead of them, but it's tough. It's tough. I mean,
it is. But you have to stand your ground and realize that you're the king.
Yep.
All of this started when they separated the spiritual and the temporal. It wasn't just an ordinance. They started fucking the kids. The priests were fucking the children back then, and then on top of that, here they are, they're circumcising you at birth.
Right.
What does that do to you? It teaches you that there's some other authority over you, ripping the head of your penis off. Here they're subjugating you. That's where your soul is removed from your body. You're taught that you have another owner. And then when a priest or a judge or an attorney preys on you in pedophilia, they're teaching you that you're subjugated to them. You have to get out of that. 1 in 4 males are sexually abused by the time they're 16. 1 in 6 females are sexually abused by the time they're 16. It isn't us sexually abusing our own children. This is attorneys, judges, priests. It's all to hold you down and subjugate you and teach you that there's something wrong with you. You have to forgive yourself. That's what Jesus was teaching about forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself. You've never done anything wrong. You only walk in truth. You have to come back and be God. They took God's ability away by abusing it out of it. They fucked it out of you. They ripped the head of your penis off at the first inception. That was the distinction between a king and a peon. It wasn't just the digital aspects of that. It was the pain aspect. Here they are, and they're still doing it to this day. This teaches you that you're subjugated to somebody.
Okay.
Now you have to forgive yourself and get out of that. You're not subjugated. You're the king. You're God. You have to get into that mindset in order to stand against them and keep going, because they throw all sorts of shit at you, but it's funny now. You know, here, if you read that attorney's letter, that was the funniest letter I've ever seen. Here he is claiming statute. I can do that, and he's throwing a fit. I can do that under your statute. And then he asks for another $25,000 bond. That is criminal coercion. And we just charged him for that. We charged him for larceny by extortion, aggravated larceny. And here he comes back in and he does it again, and he implicates the whole entire court doing that. Do you think he's going to survive this? No. Why? Because he admitted to the larceny. He said that happened, but it wasn't me, it was my client. The minute he admitted to that, do you think that that judge is going to let him live? And because he turned on his client, is he ever going to work again? They do it to themselves.
Well, I think you'll like Charles. Like he's like all of us. I mean, he's broke. He's so broke he has to beg for money just to get by every month. He's really a good guy. So I give him, you know, all my respect. He's been helping us up for here a lot.
That's another part of this subjugation, because they've taught you, the male, that you have to provide, you have to protect, you have to have a job, whatever else, and then they blackball you from finding employment.
Yep.
They tell you and they teach you every day that you're bad. Why are you bad? There's nothing wrong with you. Your physics are, before they tell you exist, before you're legally sanctioned to be, you already are. Get out of that mindset.
Well, like I say, I've got this recorded. You guys want me to send you a copy of it?
Sure. Yes, please.
I'll Skype you copies of it here.
One thing, if you don't mind, before we go, Tammy, go into just a tiny bit more why we have to go to the bishop. Break it down just a little.